Alright, so we're going to pick up with multiplying and dividing rational expressions. In my previous video we did simplifying rational expressions, so now we're going to go ahead and do multiplying and dividing. So you can take a look at this right here. We're multiplying these two rational expressions together. So let's go through the steps that you want to do. So the first thing that we want to do is completely factor all of the numerators and all of the denominators. Now when I do that, I'm just going to go ahead and list all the factors for these. If you need help with factoring, you can go and reference my factoring videos. It just take too much time to do that in this video, so you can go ahead and reference those if you have any questions about the factoring. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to factor each one of these. So this numerator right here, x squared minus 2x minus 24, that's going to be x minus 6 times x plus 4, that's what that factors to. And then the denominator, x squared plus 5x plus 4, that's going to factor to x plus 4 times x plus 1. And then here with the 6x plus 24, we just have a common factor of 6, so we can go ahead and take that out, and that's going to leave us with x plus 4. And then in the bottom, we just have a common factor of 6 again, so we take that out, and that leaves us with x minus 6. So now we have everything that is factored in all the numerators and denominators. Now what we want to do is cancel or reduce something in the numerator with something in the denominator. So as long as it's in the numerator and it's in the denominator, it can be over here or over here, we can go ahead and reduce that or cancel it out. So let's look at what we have. We have an x plus 4 here and an x plus 4 here. Now I know it's also listed on this side over here as well, but you can't cross out 2 for 1. So you got 1x plus 4 and then you got 1 here that we crossed out. I could have crossed out this one and left that. It doesn't make a difference as long as it's just 1 for 1. Then I'm going to cross out my x minus 6, my x minus 6, and then I have 6 and 6 to reduce right here. Now what I like to tell my students to do is typically to go ahead and highlight what's left over when you are doing this, so you know, make sure you don't miss anything. So what I didn't cross out was the x plus 4 up in the top and the x plus 1 in the bottom. So now I can go ahead and rewrite this with basically what's left in the numerator and the denominator. So that's going to be x plus 4 over x plus 1. And that is the answer for this one. All right, so let's take a look at number 2. So we got 3x squared minus 17x plus 10 over 9x minus 6 and times 3x plus 3 over 3x squared minus 9x minus 12. So again, we're going to do the same thing. The first step is we're going to completely factor all the numerators and all of the denominators. So when we take a look at this numerator right here, that's going to factor to 3x minus 2 times x minus 5. Then here in the bottom we just have a common factor of 3, so that's going to leave us with 3x minus 2. Here, same thing, we just have a common factor of 3, so it leaves us with x plus 1. And then 3x squared minus 9x minus 12, we could take out a common factor and then continue to factor, and it's going to wind up becoming this 3 times x minus 4 times x plus 1. So now what we want to do is cancel or reduce something that's in the numerator with something that's in the denominator. Let's go ahead and look and see what we got. So we have 3x minus 2 here, 3x minus 2. Then we got an x plus 1 and an x plus 1. Then we have a 3 and a 3. Now again, you have 1, 3 here and you got 2 on the bottom. You can't cross them all out. It's 1 for 1. And then that's pretty much it. So what do I have left? I got an x minus 5 up top. I got the 3 here, and then I got the x minus 4. So that's going to leave me with x minus 5 over 3 times x minus 4. And that is your final answer. All right, let's take a look at number 3, and then we'll move on to dividing. So for number 3 right here, we got 4x squared plus 2x minus 6 over 6x squared minus 6x. You're going to multiply that by x squared minus 9 over 2x squared minus 3x minus 9. So again, we want to go ahead and factor all of your numerators and all of your denominators. So here we do have a common factor, and then we're going to completely factor that after, and that's going to give us 2 times 2x plus 3 times x minus 1. And again, if you're wondering where these factors are coming from, and just go back and review my factoring videos. Down here we take a common factor out of 6x, so that leaves us with x minus 1. And then x squared minus 9 is the difference of squares, so that's going to be x plus 3 times x minus 3. And then 2x squared minus 3x minus 9, that's going to factor to 2x plus 3 times x minus 3. Now remember, when you're factoring all this, some of these should cancel out. If not, then chances are you made a mistake somewhere. The whole point of doing this is to get some of these things to reduce. That's why you're getting these problems. So basically, if you don't get things to reduce, factors to reduce out, then something's probably wrong. So let's go ahead and see what we can reduce now. So we have a x minus 3 and x minus 3. I got a 2x plus 3 and a 2x plus 3. Then I got an x minus 1 and x minus 1. And now you look here, I got a 2 and then I have a 6x. Well, the 2 and the 6 I can reduce. So 2 over 6 is 1/3. So that basically becomes a 1. And then this becomes a 3. So what I have left then is the x plus 3. I don't need to put the 1 in front because we know it's there. And then I have the 3. And then I have the x, because the 2 over the 6 reduced to 1/3. So then my answer is going to be x plus 3 over 3x. And that one is finished. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at some of the division problems. All right, so here we are with dividing. So here is number 4. Now, really the only difference, think about if you are dividing with fractions, what do? You flip the second fraction and then you change it to a multiplication. So really that is the first step that you're doing here. Just go ahead and flip it and change to multiplication. Some teachers like to factor it first and then flip it and change to multiplication. I just like to go ahead and do it right off the bat, just so that you don't forget. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite this as a multiplication, because I'm going to change this and I'm going to flip. So x squared plus 3x plus 2 is now on top, and then x squared plus 5x plus 4 is on the bottom. So now basically we just have a multiplication problem, which is what we just did in the first 3 problems here. So after we have this set up, we do the flip, change the sign. We're going to go ahead and factor all of your numerators and all of your denominators. So when I go ahead and factor this numerator here, that's going to be x plus 4 times x minus 2. And then when I factor this denominator here, it's going to be x minus 3 times x plus 2. And then when I factor this right here, that's going to be x plus 2 times x plus 1. And then when I factor this here, that's going to be x plus 4 times x plus 1. So now we're going to go ahead and look to see if we can cancel or reduce. So I have an x plus 1 and an x plus 1, x plus 4, and x plus 4, and then I got an x plus 2 and an x plus 2. So we're going to go ahead and highlight what we have left over so we make sure we didn't miss anything. And then that's just going to give us x minus 2 over x minus 3. And that is it. So let's go ahead and take a look at the next example. So this is number 5. So we have 4x squared plus 6x plus 2 over 2x squared plus 6x plus 4 divided by 4x squared minus 1 over 6x minus 3. So again, you recognize a division. First thing you want to do is flip and then change it to multiplication. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite it. And a lot of students don't want to rewrite the problem. They just want to go ahead and cross this out, put a multiplication, then flip this over here. If you start to do that, it starts to look messy and then you might make a mistake. So it just takes an extra second to go ahead and rewrite it, change that to multiplication and flip it, and then you have a much better chance of not making a careless mistake. So I went ahead and changed that to multiplication, and I went ahead and flipped that second fraction. So now we're going to go ahead and factor all of our numerators and all of our denominators. So this up here has a common factor, and then we're going to completely factor it. So that gives us 2 times 2x plus 1 times x plus 1. Down here we also have a common factor of 2, and then when we completely factor it after that, it gives us x plus 2 times x plus 1 times. This just has a common factor of 3. So that leaves us with 2x minus 1. And then this right here is the difference of squares, and that's going to be 2x minus 1 times 2x plus 1. So let's go ahead and take a look and see what we can cross out. So we got 2x plus 1 in the top and 1 in the bottom. I got a 2x plus 1, 2x plus 1. I got an x plus 1 and an x plus 1. Then I got a 2 and a 2. And I think that's going to be it. So I'm left with a 3 here, and then an x plus 2 over here. And then that gives me a final simplified answer of 3 over x plus 2. All right, so let's take a look at one more. So number 6, we got 6x squared plus 6x minus 36. A whole lot of 6's there. And then 15x squared minus 18x minus 24 divided by 2x squared plus 22x plus 48 over 15x plus 12. All right, so again, what do we want to do? We recognize that this is division, so we want to change it to multiplication and flip that second fraction. So I go ahead and rewrite this. 6x squared plus 6x minus 36. Rewrite that denominator here. Now I'm going to change this to multiplication, flip, so 15x plus 12 over 2x squared plus 22x plus 48. So now we are going to factor all of our numerators and our denominators. So this right here has a common factor, and then when we factor the rest of it, we have 6 times x plus 3 times x minus 2. This down here also has a common factor, and then when we completely factor it after that, that gives us 5x plus 4 times x minus 2. This just has a common factor. Let's take out the 3. That leaves us with 5x plus 4. And then the bottom here has a common factor of 2, and then when it's completely factored, it's x plus 3 times x plus 8. So let's go ahead and see what we can cross out here. So I got a 5x plus 4, 5x plus 4, x minus 2, x minus 2, x plus 3, x plus 3. Now I got a 3 here, and I got a 3 here. Now I know I could have reduced it with this, but it was just a 3 in the top, a 3 in the bottom. That was easy. Well, I got a 6 and a 2 left over. Well, 6 over 2 reduces to 3 over 1. So that basically becomes a 1. That becomes a 3. So now what do I have left over? I got the 3 up top, and that's it. Everything else crossed out. In the bottom, I have the 1 and the x plus 8. So I don't need the 1 because I already have the x plus 8. I don't need to put the 1 in front of it. So that's just going to leave me with 3 over x plus 8. And that is it. All right, so hopefully that will help you simplify, or actually multiply and divide your rational expressions. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.